What is up, guys? JD here, and today I'll talk about all the Mega Evolutions that I want to see in Legends EA. First, I'll go over the Megas for the regional variants that I talked about in my last video. Then I'll go over the other, more normal Megas. And for the last part of this video, I'll go over the Starters Megas. Without further ado, let's get into my thoughts for the return of the OG. First, I could maybe see a new Mega Metagross, but if they wanted to feel better about themselves, they could just make a regional variant of the original Mega. If they were to go the route of a new Mega, I could see its limbs going from floaty and kind of wavy and spiky to a huge tank kind of thing that's very connected to its body. If you're confused about what the heck I'm talking about, make sure to check out my last video that I'll link in the card above. If they do a regional variant of the Mega, it'll probably just be a recolor, or they could do my idea. When you use the original Metagross on the regional form for the new Mega, you get the original Mega. For its type, I would like to see a Dark Psychic type. Next up is Flygon, who I said should get two Megas. One for its original form and one for the regional variant. So what we did for Metagross will still work actually. I'd like to see a more salamander-based, yet still bug-like Pokemon for the original's Mega, and a kind of jet one for the regional variant. Oh no, I'm having flashbacks of Horus. For the original Hoenn Mega, I'd go for the first Bug Dragon type, and for the regional variant form, I'd do Steel Flying. Like I said in my last video, feel free to tell me your thoughts about anything I talk about in the comment section below. For our last regional variant from the last video, we should have Haxorus. I think it should slide around on the ground and be long, but still have arms so it isn't a snake. I would also like to give it somehow a huge axe too. I think maybe a fire type paired with maybe a ground or poison type. I mean, if it's fire ground, it would be 4 times weak to water, so I think poison ground would be better. Maybe a more futuristic type would be better. Now for some Megas, starting with Aegislash. I'm thinking of giving it a cannon or a bow to finish off its arsenal, making it bigger and spikier because that's what they do with every Mega, or doing something to combine the sword and the shield into an axe. I think a good type for him would be Steel Dark or Steel Fighting. Next up is Talonflame, and I talked about this a little bit in my Pokemon Yearbook Superlatives video. I'll link it up in the card above, and if I don't, you guys can yell at me in the comments, unless I go back and do it, in which case I will remove the comments. But I would like to see it get a new ability that's similar to how Gale Wings was back in Generation 6. If you don't know what Gale Wings was, basically it just made all flying type moves priority, but then it got nerfed, so it only gave flying type moves priority when Talonflame was at full HP. I would like to see it get a new form of Gale Wings when it Mega Evolves, or when it Mega Evolves, puts most of its 100 additional stat points into the speed stat, making it a speedy sweeper like it was back in the good old days. Continuing the Kalos trend is Pyroar. I love Pyroar, but it was always stuck with that pesky normal type. So I think it should trade the normal type for something like Steel, Dragon, or Fighting. As for design, I would make it bigger, make it more imposing, of course, and then you gotta give it a huge mane that becomes fire. We aren't leaving the ladies out though, so for female Pyroar, I'm thinking a longer mane that becomes fire, and becoming more of a swift, speedy Pokemon rather than the big, bulky, imposing one like male Pyroar was. If we wanted to give the female variant a new type, I would go with Fire Psychic or the first ever Fire Fairy type. Now we have the Electric Salamander, aka Heliolisk. I'm in the same position with Heliolisk as I am with Pyroar. I love them, but they're stuck with that stupid normal type. Gosh, what was it with Generation 6 that made Game Freak want to give every cool Pokemon the normal type? All it does is make them weak to fighting. I get the ghost immunity, but they weren't weak to it anyway. Sorry for the rant, but Heliolisk needs a Mega. I think oddly enough that Heliolisk could become an Electric Steel or Electric Dragon type. Oddly enough, like some of the types I offered up for male Pyroar. I would love to see its frill flare up, get bigger, and have lightning swirling around it, especially swirling around its frill. Ending up our Kalos Megas are Aurorus and Tyrantrum. Starting with Aurorus, I think its frilly things should get bigger, they should glow, and she should have more of them. In terms of type, I think that Ice Fairy would be amazing. It's stupid that we didn't get any non-rock type fossils until Generation 8. Aurorus should have been part fairy from the start. Moving on to Tyrantrum, I think it should be dark fighting, but the rock type still works for Tyrantrum, so dark rock would still work. For some reason, I didn't put what I want to see for its design in the script, so I think just big, a lot bigger, a lot spikier. Basically, a better pulled off Mega Tyranitar. For the last part of this video, we have the starters. If you missed my video where I go over the starters for Legends EA, I'll link it in the card above. My predictions for the starters were 3, 2, 1. Okay, you guys had the chance to click off if you didn't want to be spoiled. My predictions were Snivy, Piplup, and Scorbunny. Starting with Snivy, whose Mega will be through Superior. I would like to see it gets much longer, either get rid of those arms or make it bigger. It's kind of weird that it just had 2 really tiny arms and become a Grass Fairy type. The typing doesn't make much sense for the secondary, doesn't make much sense right now. For the secondary type triangle that I've planned, it has to be part fairy, and it works the best between Cinderace, Empoleon, and it fits the best with the 3 types that I have planned out. Next up is Empoleon, and this is where I tried to center the type triangle. Its type would be water fighting, even though we just got Quaquaval, but look at Hisuian Typhlosion and Skeleturge. It's okay, guys. I wanted to make it part dark, but the type triangle didn't really work with that. As for its design, I want him to eat Happy Meals. He should be chonk. But it should also get something like the famous French guillotine, and because that trident would probably be gone, that'd be kind of weird if it had 2 weapons at the same time. They should give him like a cool conquer hat or something. The guillotine might seem random, but there are some things that I want to save for Cinderace. Speaking of Cinderace, for my last part of this video, we have Cinderace, my beloved. I would like to either see it be a ninja. Oh, JD, but there's already a Kalosian ninja starter. Shut up about that stupid frog. My baby should get some love too. But if you think it's too much, if you think the ninja thing is too much like Greninja, then I think ears like Mega Wartortles would be really cool to add on too. For the Mega aspect, I would make it shadowy and sneaky like a ninja, or I would make it jump up a lot somehow to deal blows like the jump attacks from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Ideally, we could get both though. By the way, I would give either variant swords, which is why I didn't give Empoleon one, because that would seem like it'd make more sense, but I have Scorbunny bias. Deal with it. I know you guys are probably confused because I didn't tell you the type earlier, but if you were paying attention to the type triangle, you'd know that Cinderace would be a fire steel type. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications, as it helps the channel a ton, and you'll be recommended more of my videos, so you'll see more of them. That's going to do it for today. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.